Honestly, like, that's the main reason I'm not doing it is, like, to be honest, I'm pretty mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. I've been competing for a year straight, and at times that probably can seem pretty easy to most people, but it's really hard and really taxing.
Despite Caitlin Clark's dominance in the WNBA, can the Indiana Fever be able to cling on to her? Perhaps after the Olympics. In this video, we'll go into great detail about Caitlin Clark's circumstances and talk about her outstanding statistics, the intense drama that occurs behind the scenes of Fever, and the possible adjustments that might completely alter the course of this game. There's recent buzz about a basketball icon who could be involved. Affix a channel subscription. Let's get to the twists and turns so you don't miss anything. The WNBA's Caitlin Clark is killing it. In the 10 games played before to the All-Star break, she averaged 18.5 points. 11.4 assists and 6.3 rebounds per game is not to be taken lightly. People, Clark isn't just playing well, she's completely changing the concept of what it means to be a rookie in the league. Her 11.4 assists are remarkable. In addition to scoring, she's improving the performance of everyone around her. The issue is that the Indians with an 11-15 record through the first half of the season, Fever isn't living up to their star. It's obvious that something isn't right. Sure, things were worse without Clark last year, but for those who have watched the games, it's obvious that they could be much better and at the top of the standings. And it doesn't stop there. Speaking of the All-Star game, something interesting happened there. Clark played nearly 40 minutes per game in certain matches, which is too much for any player, especially a rookie. Her wariness was already evident to the point where she chose not to compete in the skills in three-point competitions. Even though Caitlin Clark is frustrated by her Fever, she made some valuable connections during the All-Star weekend. Firstly, there is the legendary Cheryl Miller, who coached the All-Star team. To her surprise, Clark and Miller got along really well, and during practices, Miller demonstrated offensive sets that gave the impression that Fever was playing child's play. Clark was there taking in everything and seeing the work of an accomplished coach, but he didn't stop there. During their courtside chats, Sophie Cunningham of the Phoenix Mercury and Caitlin seemed to be longtime friends. Cunningham complimented Clark for her abilities to help her teammates win the game. This all transpired in full front of the cameras, people. In addition to seeing how other teams function and how other coaches work, Clark is also observing how highly esteemed the league views her. When she contrasts this with the circumstances at Fever, she can clearly notice the sharp differences. Clark is receiving attention and respect from sports legends and current stars, while in Indiana it seems she wasn't given the value she deserved at the start of the season. The question remains, will these new connections influence Clark's future in the league? The Fever needs to keep an eye out, because other teams surely are. But let's get serious about the Fever. Now the situation there isn't good, and at the center of it all is coach Christie Sides. Sides is being heavily criticized, and rightly so. Her management of Clark's playing time is questionable, to say the least. Putting a rookie to play 40 minutes in some games, that's a recipe for injuries. But it's not just that. Sides' tactical decisions are also under the spotlight. The Fever's offense looks too basic, especially compared to what we saw Cheryl Miller doing at the All-Star game. It's not maximizing the talent of Clark or the rest of the roster. The big question now is, how long will the Fever continue in this direction? If they don't make changes soon, they risk losing not only games, but also their stars. And with Clark showing her value to the entire league at the All-Star game, though there may not be much time left for the Fever to have an impact, let's discuss a potential benefit of the Fever. There are serious rumors that Cheryl Miller, yes, the same Cheryl Miller who demonstrated her coaching abilities at the All-Star game, may take over as the head coach of the Indiana Fever going forward. These rumors are not unfounded, folks. Miller gave the Fever exactly what it needed during All-Star practices. Compared to what we've seen from the Fever in the regular season, Miller's well-structured offensive sets, we're talking about double cuts, pick and roll plays, made Clark and other players shine. It's like night and day. Imagine what Miller could do with a team led by Clark in Boston. She has the tactical knowledge to maximize the talent of these young stars and the authority to implement significant changes in the team's culture. Miller is not a rookie coach. She has already led the Phoenix Mercury and the University of Southern California, USC. She also has experience getting respect from the league. Having a coach of Miller's caliber, someone who is very knowledgeable about the game and can assist her, could be a game changer. Improve her performance even more. Miller appears like the ideal candidate to give the Fever a shakeup. Now, the issue is whether the Fever will follow this brave course or stick on their current course, thereby losing Clark's luster. If this shift takes place, it may be just what the team needs to be competitive in the WNBA, and more significantly, to keep Clark content and productive in Indiana. Another point is the Olympic break. It's not just a time for rest, it's a window of opportunity for negotiations and significant changes. And with Clark's performance and the Fever situation, you can bet there's a lot of conversation happening behind the scenes. First, we have the New York Liberty and the Phoenix Mercury. They have committed owners and are investing heavily in their franchises. The Mercury, for example, is building a $70 million facility. This shows the kind of environment they can offer a star like Clark. But it's not just about money and facilities. The new collective bargaining agreement being negotiated could completely change the game. There are rumors that rookie contracts could be voided, especially if the salary cap increases significantly due to a new television rights deal. This means Clark could become a free agent sooner than expected, and with maximum salaries potentially reaching $1 million, teams will have more flexibility to attract stars. The Fever is under pressure if they don't make significant changes, like bringing Cheryl Miller as a coach and improving the roster around Clark. They risk losing their star. The choices that are made in the next weeks might completely alter the course of the WNBA. So this Olympic break is really important. What occurs in the next 2 weeks might drastically alter the league's landscape. Clark is the prize that everyone is vying for, and the Fever has to move quickly if they want to retain her. The Indiana Fever is at a crossroads. They have a rising star but are struggling to manage this special opportunity. The Fever's next moves will define not only their future, but also the potential power dynamics in the WNBA. Will Caitlin Clark lead a new powerhouse, or will the Fever turn things around and become a serious contender? There's no way around the current quo. That much is certain. The WNBA could look very different after this Olympic break from what it does now. I hope this video has provided you with a clear understanding of the situation surrounding Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. It's a complex but exciting one, with a rising star, a team that may be in trouble, potential coaching changes, and the entire league keeping an eye on what transpires. You're watching the WNBA's future as it develops directly in front of your eyes. Keep an eye on our channel. Let's start an amazing conversation about the future of the WNBA. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to stay updated on everything in the WNBA, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any updates. Now I want to hear from you about what you think will happen should Clark stay with the Fever. Is Cheryl Miller the answer to the team problems? Will we see Clark in a new uniform next season? Leave your guesses in the comments. I appreciate you viewing, and I'll see you in the future video.